Beamy Wesley, 28, engineer at a mid-sized firm. Nothing flashy about my life. Decent salary, decent apartment, decent run up until about 2 years ago. Met Madison through one of those dating apps. Her profile was funny, which already put her ahead of everyone else I had been talking to. Messaged her on a whim. Got a sharp reply back within 10 minutes. Met up at a wine bar that next weekend. Even better in person than her profile had suggested. Quick, into the same shows. Made fun of my jacket in a way I actually liked. 3 drinks in. I was already thinking that this one was different. 3 months in, I was certain about her. Showed up to guys' nights without me even needing to ask her to come. Laughed at the dumb stories, played pool, lost on purpose to Connor. Shotgunned a beer with Trent at one point in the kitchen. My friends loved her. Connor pulled me aside on the porch one night. Told me she was a keeper. Told me not to be an idiot about her. Told him I would not be. I believed myself when I said it. My mother liked her too, which mattered to me. Brought Madison to a family dinner around the 4-month mark. She was perfect that night. Asked my dad about his work, listened to the answers, asked follow-ups, helped my mother clear the table without being asked. My mother called me the next morning and said, "Do not lose this one." That comment played in my head for almost 2 years after that. Around the 6-month mark is when the small stuff started. Nothing big enough to call a fight. Just little comments after every guy's night. I came home smelling like a brewery. Trent looked at her funny across the table that one time. Connor always called when she was trying to have a real conversation with me. She missed me when I was gone. That was the line that kept coming back. "I missed you tonight. Why do you have to be gone so much?" Started doing twice a month instead of every week. She noticed and praised me for it. Called it growing up. Called it putting the relationship first. Told myself it was a fair trade. Looking back, the first year had its warning signs too. Just did not have the language for them at the time. She would tell me about an old friend she had cut off. Always, for some reason, I could not quite follow. Once or twice, the friend had reached out to her years later to apologize. Madison never accepted any of those apologies. Thought of it as a strength of hers at the time. She had standards, I told myself. She protected her peace. That was the phrase she used. Protecting my peace. Turns out anyone using that phrase that often is usually the one breaking other people's. Around the same time, she started taking my phone for casual checks. Nothing aggressive. Asked playfully one night if she could see who I had been texting. Handed it to her without a thought. That became a regular thing. Not every night, just enough. She said it was about trust. Said couples who had nothing to hide should not mind. I figured she was right. Started self-editing my texts to the guys. Made sure nothing in them sounded like fun without her. Did not notice I was doing it until almost a year later. By the year mark, every guy's night ended in a fight. Not after the fight. During the fight. Phone calls every 20 minutes from her end. Texts asking when I was coming home. One night at Trent's birthday party, I made it to maybe the second beer before the calls started. She said she felt so alone in the apartment. Said the silence was getting to her. Said she had a bad feeling about the evening. Left before the cake came out. Trent walked me to the door. Asked if everything was okay at home. Told him I was fine. She was just having a rough week. He gave me a long look. Said she has a rough week every time we hang out, you noticed. Waved it off. Got in my car. Drove home telling myself the same thing I had been telling myself for months. Another time I tried to host a small game night at our place. Thought maybe having the guys come to us would diffuse the tension. Madison agreed beforehand. Said she was looking forward to it. Day of, she was sick. Actually sick, or pretending sick. I do not know to this day. Texted the guys to cancel an hour before they were supposed to show up. Connor responded with one word. Understood. That one word sat with me for weeks. Understood meant he had given up trying. Somewhere around a year and a half in, I realized I had basically vanished. Missed Connor's 30th, missed the annual fishing trip with the guys, missed 2 separate bachelor parties for guys I had known since college. The group chat called The Boys had over 1,000 new messages I had not even opened. My last contribution to it was a thumbs-up emoji from 6 months earlier. Noticed all of this one night while Madison watched a baking show on the couch. Noticed I had lost some weight without trying. Noticed I could not remember the last time I had laughed at something for no reason. Told myself this was just being an adult. Told myself everybody compromises in a serious relationship. That became the line I repeated whenever the doubt came back. Around then, my manager pulled me aside at work. Said I'd been distracted for months. Asked if everything was okay at home. Told him things were just busy. He nodded, but did not look convinced. My performance review that quarter was the worst I had ever had. Did not tell Madison about it. Knew she would have a take ready about how I needed to focus more on us. Madison had a whole vocabulary for what was happening to me. She would explain it to anyone who would listen. Told her own mother on the phone one night that she had fixed me. That was her word. Fixed. Walked past the kitchen and heard it. Kept walking to the bedroom. Did not bring it up. She also talked a lot about male toxicity. Told me my friends brought it out of me. Said Trent, in particular, was a bad influence. Said Connor was emotionally stunted. Said the whole group was just performing masculinity at me. Told me she was helping me unlearn male entitlement. I never argued with any of it. Figured if she was happy, my life was working. Her mood was the metric I was using by then. She had her own social circle, of course, centered around her best friend Brooke. They did girls' nights at a bar called Brewhouse, twice a week, sometimes 3. I never thought twice about it. Thought it was healthy that she had her own thing. Thought it meant the rules cut both ways. Turns out the rules only ever cut one direction. At some point during the second year, she had also started picking fights with my sister. My sister lives across the country, so it never got physical. But the phone calls would go bad. My sister would mention something innocent, and Madison would find a slight in it. By the time everything blew up, my sister had stopped calling unless I picked up first. Did not connect the dots until later. Everyone in my life had been managing around her for me. My mother had been worried. My sister had been quietly distant. My friends had been waiting for me to come back. I was the last one to see what was actually going on. Around the 2-year mark, Connor showed up at my office one afternoon. Brought 2 coffees, said he had news, he was engaged, asked me to be his best man right there in the lobby, told me the bachelor weekend was already booked, cabin a few hours out, 4 days, 5 guys total. Looked me dead in the eyes for the last part. Said Wes, "For real, you have been a ghost for a year. I need you there." Said yes before I had time to think about it. Something in my chest pulled tight that I had not felt in a long time. Drove home rehearsing how to bring it up to Madison. Brought it up at dinner. Madison set her fork down. Full silence for about 10 seconds. 4 days. You want to leave me alone for 4 days. Told her it was Connor's wedding. She said, what about my needs? The fight started small, none of the yelling kind. The worst kind where every sentence is built to cut. Cried for an hour straight. Told me I did not love her. Told me I would rather drink with losers than be with her. Called Connor a man-child who could not grow up. Called Trent a creep who looked at her wrong. At one point, she said the bachelor party was probably just an excuse to cheat on her. That one stuck with me later, when I learned what she had actually been doing. Projection, I think they call it. By midnight, she had forgiven me on conditions. 1 night only, not the full weekend. Home to sleep that same night. No strip club anywhere in the plan. hourly texts with photos as proof of where I was, access to find my phone for the whole trip, said yes to all of it, would have said yes to anything to make the room go quiet. Over the next few weeks, she got creative, booked us couples therapy on the exact dates of the weekend, bought non-refundable tickets to a spa resort for those same days. When I told her I was still going, the tactics changed again. Said her mother was about to be hospitalized that weekend, said she needed me there for her family, called her mother to check the next morning. Her mother answered between rounds of pickleball, said she had never felt better in her life, asked how the wedding planning was going for Connor and his fiancée, did not really know what to say to her. Told her I was just checking in, hung up, sat in the parking lot of my office for a while before going inside. Realized I was not just dealing with a difficult girlfriend, realized I was dealing with someone who would say almost anything to get what she wanted. Did not say anything to Madison about the call, kept it in my back pocket. That was the first time in 2 years I had kept a secret from her on purpose. Felt guilty about it for maybe an hour. Got over it quickly. 1 week before the bachelor party, Madison went all in. Real ultimatum this time. Dragged a suitcase out of the closet and put it by the front door. Told me, if you go, I am done. This is final. Said, choose. Stood in the living room for a minute. Did not think about her at all. Thought about Connor in my office that day with the 2 coffees. Thought about him saying I had been a ghost. Thought about my own face in the bathroom mirror that I barely recognized anymore. Thought about the way my mother had said, "Honey, are you safe?" weeks before, in a moment I had brushed off at the time. Said, "Okay." She said, "Okay what?" Said, "Okay, I am going." She did not believe me at first. Then she saw something in my face change, and that was when she lost it. Never watched anyone go through that many emotions in one night. Started with the rage, thrown remote control, broken picture frame, the whole show. Then came the kind of crying that was supposed to break me. Then came the threats. Called my mother at 11 at night to tell her I was cheating. My mother called me back 10 minutes later, asking what was going on. Told her the short version. She went quiet for a second. Said, "Honey, are you safe?" That question hit me from an angle I was not ready for. Realized then that even my mother had been worried for a while. She just had not known how to bring it up. Told her I was safe. Told her I was finally doing something I should have done a long time ago. Madison spent that night and the next 2 posting things online. Vague stories tagging me about emotional abuse, warning signs, crying selfies with captions about choosing his friends over the woman he loved. 200 likes each from people I had never met. Mutual friends started messaging me, asking if I was okay. Did not respond to any of them. Just kept folding shirts into the bag. Knew if I said anything in defense, it would only fuel her. Chose silence instead. Silence had been her tactic on me for 2 years. Turned out it works both ways. Saturday morning of the bachelor party. Put my bag in the trunk. Madison stood on the front steps in her robe, not crying anymore. That scared me more than the crying had. Said, "You are going to regret this." Said, "I know." Got in the car. Drove out to the highway and turned the music up for the first time in I do not know how long. Hands were shaking on the wheel for the first 30 minutes. That stopped somewhere past exit 40. Somewhere past exit 60, I rolled the window down. Somewhere past exit 80, I started humming. By the time I hit the gravel road to the cabin, I was singing along to a song I had not heard in 2 years. Connor met me on the porch of the cabin with a beer in each hand. Hugged me longer than guys are supposed to hug. Said, "Welcome back, man." The other 3 guys were already inside. 2 of them I had known since college. One was Connor's cousin, who I had only met a few times before. Nobody made a thing about me being there. Slapped my back, handed me a plate, asked how work was. like no time had passed at all, which somehow made it worse. 2 years of my life had passed for me. For them, it was just Wes finally showed up. First day was mostly grilling and not talking about anything heavy. Played cards into the afternoon. Somebody put on a movie that nobody actually watched. Trent kept glancing at me from across the room but did not say anything. This was new behavior from him. Trent does not usually wait. I figured he was working up to something. He was. My phone went off about every 12 minutes. I had it face down on the kitchen counter. Connor noticed it buzzing during dinner. Asked if I needed to take it. Said no. He raised an eyebrow, but did not push. By 10 that night, the phone had vibrated itself off the counter once. I left it on the floor. Nobody said anything. Everyone else had gone to bed around midnight. Trent handed me a fresh beer at the fire pit, sat down across from me, asked what was actually going on with me and Madison. Did not know why that was the moment I started talking. Maybe because nobody had asked the question in a way that felt like they actually wanted to know the answer. Told him about the calls every 20 minutes, about the missed birthdays, about the suitcase by the door that week, about her telling her mother she had fixed me, about how I had stopped recognizing my own face in the mirror, about the failed game night and Connor's one-word reply, about my manager pulling me aside at work, about my own mother asking if I was safe. He did not interrupt once, just nodded and drank his beer. When I finished, there was a long quiet. Connor had come out at some point during the story. Did not even hear him sit down on the log next to me. He said, "Wes, man, why did you not say anything sooner?" Trent said, "Bro, I have been telling you for a year." Connor said, "Why did you not tell me, Wes? I would have come and gotten you." Told him I had not thought I was the kind of guy who needed somebody to come and get him. He said, "Yeah, you were not." That line hit hard. Do not know how to explain it. He meant it nicely. Trent stared into the fire for a long minute, said, "Look, I was not going to bring this up. Did not want to bring it up without proof. But my girlfriend works at Brewhouse. That was the bar Madison always went to with Brooke for girls' nights. Twice a week, sometimes 3 times. Trent said she has been seeing Madison there for over a year now. Not with Brooke, with some guy. Said it like he was reading a weather report. Flat, no drama in his voice. Put my beer down. Asked him to say it again. He said it again. Connor said, "Are you sure?" Trent said, "I have a photo. Did not want to show you because I did not know if you were ready to see it." He said, "I have been carrying it around for almost 2 months. My girlfriend made me promise I would show you the next time I saw you alone." Pulled out his phone and turned it around. Photo was clearly from Brewhouse. Madison at a corner table, head on the shoulder of a guy I had never seen, his hand on her leg. The date stamp on the photo was about 6 weeks before. Knew the date because I remembered the night. She had told me it was a girls' night with Brooke. Had texted her around 10 that night. Told her I missed her. Got back a heart emoji. She said Brooke was being annoying and she wished she was home with me. Sat at the fire pit looking at the photo for a long time. Not feeling angry. Not feeling much of anything really. Just very still. Said I need to make some calls. Got up and walked down to the lake. Sat on the dock until the sun came up. Did not sleep. Thought about every Brewhouse night I could remember. Tried to count them. Lost track somewhere around 40. Not in a panicking way. More like inventorying. Around 7, I called Brooke. My voice came out flatter than I expected it to. Said Brooke, "I know about Brewhouse. I have a photo. Just want to know one thing. How long?" She went quiet for 30 seconds. Then she said, "Wes, I am so sorry. I told her this was insane from the start." I said, "How long, Brooke?" Said 1.5 years. Let that number sit there. 1.5 years lined up exactly with the period I had been disappearing from my friends. The timeline was a perfect match. Asked her if it had been one guy or more. She went quiet again. Said mostly the one. That mostly hit me harder than the year and a half had. Brooke kept talking, started crying, said Madison had made her cover for it, said Madison had told her I was controlling and cold, and that I had isolated her from her own life. That one almost made me laugh. Said Wes, "You are the nicest guy I know. I should have said something a year ago." Asked her why she had not said something a year ago. She said because Madison was her best friend since middle school. Said she had kept telling Madison to end it with you first. Said Madison kept telling her she was about to. Said Madison kept not ending it. I let her talk, did not push. Knew I needed her on my side for what came next. Said Brooke, "I need you to send me the screenshots, all of them. Every conversation, every photo, everything you have." She said, "Okay." Then she said it again, "Okay, okay." Said she would have it to me within the hour. Within the hour, my phone was just flooding. Brooke had 18 months of receipts saved. Conversations between her and Madison going all the way back. Madison calling me boring. Madison saying I just stayed home like a puppy. Madison telling Brooke that the other one made her feel alive. Madison saying she stayed with me because I was stable, but she was bored out of her mind. Madison saying she liked having the safe boyfriend in case the fun one did not work out. Screenshots of Madison's messages to the other one. Photos from hotel rooms with the door numbers visible. Geo-tagged locations. The dates lined up perfectly with nights I had been home alone. Texting Madison things like, "Hope you and Brooke are having fun." One message from Madison to Brooke just said the puppy is asleep, coming over now. Read that one twice. Set the phone down for a few minutes after that. Picked it back up after a while and kept reading. Found a screenshot of Madison telling Brooke I was the kind of guy you marry for the savings account. Found one where she said the other one was unstable and exhausting, but the best she had ever felt. Found her listing my flaws like a grocery list. Too quiet, too predictable, too easy to manage. None of it stung the way I expected it to. By then, I had read enough to know I had been a project to her, not a partner. The rest was just paperwork. Scrolled through them slowly. Connor came down to the dock about an hour in. Read over my shoulder without saying anything for a while. Finally said Jesus Christ. Trent showed up shortly after. Read for a minute. Said calmly, "Told you, bro." Nobody said anything for a while after that. The lake was very still that morning. I remember that part more than the photos. Remember thinking I should probably feel worse than I did. Then realizing that the feeling of being right after 2 years of being told I was wrong was almost a kind of relief. Not happiness, not even close to happiness. Just relief that I had not been losing my mind. The rest of the bachelor weekend was somehow still good. It should have been wrecked. It was not. The guys gave me space when I needed it and pulled me back in when I started spiraling. We still grilled. We still played cards. I still laughed at one of Connor's worst jokes around midnight on the third day. Something I had not felt in close to 2 years started coming back online inside me. Could not name what it was at the time. Think I would call it just being a person again. Connor took me aside on the last morning, said he was sorry for not pushing harder over the last year, said he had watched me disappear and not known what to do, told him it was not on him, told him nobody could have pulled me out of that place but me. He said, yeah, but I should have tried anyway. Did not really know what to say to that. Just shook his hand. He hugged me again. I left for the drive home around noon. Madison was losing it the entire weekend. My phone hit something like 80 missed calls by Sunday. She went through her whole playbook in 4 days. Threats to leave me, threats to hurt herself, threats that she was going to call the police and report me for emotional abuse. Screenshotted every single one of them. Did not respond to any of them. Connor checked on me a few times. Asked if I needed to call her back just to defuse it. Told him no. Told him I was done diffusing things. He said good. That was all he said about it. Drove home Sunday night. Did not call her. Did not text her. Walked into the apartment around 9. She was on the couch in the living room. Had clearly been preparing some big emotional scene. Tears, smudged mascara, the whole production. Put my bag down. Sat across from her. Opened my phone. Did not yell. Did not even raise my voice. Just put the first photo on the coffee table. The one from Brewhouse. She immediately said, "This is not what it looks like." Brooke was there. Put the second screenshot down. Then the third. Then the conversations between her and Brooke where I was the puppy. Then a hotel photo. Then the receipts from the other one. She stopped talking somewhere around photo 4. Her face went completely white. Watched her piece it together. Watched her realize the receipts existed and she had not seen them. Watched her realize Brooke had handed them to me. Said I am out. Said the lawyer will be in touch about the lease. Got up to start packing. She shifted gears immediately. First came the crying, then the apologies, then the explanation about how it was a mistake, just one mistake. It had only happened a few times. Held up my phone with the 18 months of receipts on it. She switched again. Started telling me I'd pushed her into it. Said my emotional unavailability had driven her away. Said my own toxic behavior was the real reason any of this had happened. Said the bachelor party itself was proof that I had never been committed. Said any therapist would say she was the real victim here. Did not respond to any of it. Kept packing socks into the bag. At one point she sat on the floor and screamed. Went into the bathroom to grab my toothbrush. Came back out and she had moved into the doorway, blocking me. Asked her politely to move. She did, eventually. Followed me to the front door with one last try. Said, "Wes, please, 2 years." Said, "Yeah, 2 years." Said, "Thanks for confirming what they were worth to you." Was out of the apartment in under an hour. Drove to Trent's. He opened the door and just stepped aside. Did not even ask. Made up the spare bed for me. Handed me a beer. Did not say a word about any of it. That was the first night I slept more than 5 hours in. I cannot tell you how long. Woke up the next morning genuinely confused about why my chest did not hurt. Took me about an hour to figure out it was because nobody was watching me sleep. First week at Trent's was disorienting in its own way. Kept reaching for my phone in the morning, expecting a text waiting for me. Kept bracing for a fight I had to diffuse before I had even had coffee. None of that ever came. Trent had a simple routine. Coffee, news, drive to work, repeat. I slipped in it without anyone making a thing of it. On the third morning, I made him eggs because he had let me crash for free. He said about time. Did not stop ribbing me about it for the rest of the week. That became our new normal, simple. I had forgotten how much I had needed simple. Trent's girlfriend was great about all of it. She let me stay in their spare room without ever making me feel like a burden. Made enough food for 3 when she cooked. Did not pry, did not bring it up unprompted, just left a clean towel folded on the dresser every Sunday. One night she sat down at the kitchen table after a long day and asked if I was okay. Told her I was getting there. She nodded, said let her know if she could help with anything. Did not push past that. Thought about that conversation a lot afterwards, about how a person can ask if you are okay in 2 completely different ways. One of them is a question, the other one is a setup. Madison had been the second kind for 2 years. 3 days went by. Madison clearly spent every minute of those 3 days planning. Then came the post. Long video. Front-facing camera, good lighting, real production, full crying performance. Told the story of how I had emotionally abused her for 2 years. Told the story of how I had isolated her from her own friends. Told the story of how I had cheated on her at a bachelor party. Tagged mutual friends. Tagged my workplace. Tagged Connor. Sent direct messages to my coworkers. Called my mother again. My mother just hung up this time. then blocked her on her own phone. My mother texted me 5 minutes later just saying I love you, and that is the end of that. Was sitting in Trent's kitchen watching it all light up my phone. Did not know what to do. Was not going to make my own post. Was not going to fight her on her terms. Just sat there and let it happen. Trent looked over my shoulder. Said this is going to backfire. Asked him how. He said because Brooke is reading this too. About 4 hours after Madison's video went live, Brooke posted her own thing. Not crying, not dramatic, just text on a plain background. Said she needed to set the record straight. Said Madison had been seeing someone else for 18 months. Said she, Brooke, had been covering for it the whole time. Said she would carry the shame of that for a long time. Said Wesley was one of the most loyal people she had ever met. Said the man being described in Madison's video did not exist. Then she attached the receipts. Not all of them. Just enough. The photo from Brewhouse. 2 of the worst conversations between her and Madison. The part where Madison called me a puppy. 1 hotel screenshot with the geolocation visible. The math was hard to argue with. Her post went around our entire social circle in about 2 hours. The comments under Madison's video flipped completely. Same people who had been messaging me asking if I was okay were now messaging me asking if I had seen Brooke's post. By morning, Madison had deleted her account. Not deactivated. Deleted. Like the whole thing had never existed. Except screenshots of her video were already saved to half a dozen group chats by then. Nothing on the internet really disappears. I think she knew that. I think that was part of what broke her. The fallout was bigger than I expected. The other one turned out to be engaged to someone else. Had no idea about any of that. His fiancée saw Brooke's receipts through a friend of a friend. Heard about the engagement getting called off about a week later. Felt bad for the fiancé. Did not feel bad for him. Madison lost a chunk of her own friend group within a few weeks. The ones who had spent 2 years hearing about her controlling boyfriend started doing the math. A few of them reached out to me to apologize. Was polite, said it was fine, did not really engage. One of them tried to invite me out for a drink to talk it over. Declined as kindly as I could. Did not have it in me to debrief on her behalf. Her job got messy too. She worked in HR at a mid-sized company, ran the standard ethics training in her department. Somebody, and I genuinely do not know who, sent the receipts to her boss anonymously. Quiet, performance-based parting of ways about 2 months later. I did not send them. Trent says he did not send them either. I believe him about half the time on that one. Madison's own mother called me about a month after everything, apologized for not seeing it, asked how I was doing, thanked her for the call, told her I was doing okay, blocked the number after we hung up, not out of spite, just did not want to back channel into that part of my life anymore. She sounded sad about it. I think she had liked me. I think she knew her daughter pretty well by then. Brooke and I never really spoke again either. Not in a bad way. She had done the right thing in the end, and I respected her for it. But every time I would have heard from her, I would have remembered the 18 months before the right thing. I think she understood that. Last I heard, she had moved to a different city. Good for her. I hope she is doing well. Stayed at Trent's for about 2 months while I sorted out my own place. Got reinstated into the boys' group chat the day I moved out of the old apartment. Nobody made a big thing out of it. Connor just sent a beer emoji and a thumbs up. Trent sent a clip of an old movie we used to quote. That was the welcome back. First guy's night back was at Connor's. Ribs, beer, the dumb shooter game we had been playing for 10 years. Nobody called my phone every 20 minutes. Nobody texted asking when I was coming home. Laughed out loud at something around midnight. Connor looked over and squeezed my shoulder without saying anything. That almost broke me more than the whole Madison thing had. Started eating again, started sleeping again. Put the weight back on within a couple months. My mother came to visit. cried when she saw me at the door, said you look like my son again, had not even realized I had stopped looking like myself. She stayed for a week, made too much food, the way mothers do, did not bring up Madison once. That was the kindest thing she could have done. On her last night, she did say one thing, said next time, listen to me sooner. Did not have an argument for that. My work picked back up too. Not overnight, but within a few months. My manager noticed, said it was good to have me back at full speed. He did not ask any questions. I appreciated that more than I could say. Ran into one of Madison's old co-workers at a coffee shop sometime around then. Did not recognize her at first. She recognized me. Came over and said she was sorry for what had happened. Said the office had figured out the truth pretty quickly. Said Madison had not made a lot of friends there to begin with. Thanked her for the kindness and told her I was doing well. She said it was good to hear, walked back to her table. Was a small thing. It was the third or fourth small thing in a few weeks. Started to realize most people had landed on the right side of it without me having to fight for any of it. Brooks Post had done the work. I just had to keep my head down and be quiet. Quiet had been working for me lately. Connor's wedding was about 6 months after everything went down. I was best man. Wrote the speech in one sitting the night before. Nothing fancy. Told one embarrassing college story. Told one story about him being a good friend when I had needed one. Did not get specific. Did not have to. Everybody in the room who knew him knew what I meant. Made the bride cry. Made the bride's grandmother cry. Made Trent throw a balled-up napkin at me from the head table. Got a standing ovation from Connor's father, who was a hard man to please. Here is the part nobody saw coming. Madison showed up. Somehow she had ended up as a +1 to a distant cousin of Connor's. Still have no idea what string she pulled to get herself there. Connor did not know either. Found out later that the cousin had met her at a coffee shop a few months earlier. She had told him she was a friend of the family. Nobody had thought to fact-check. Saw her across the room during the reception. Did not look like the person I had dated. Thinner, sharper, hollow around the eyes. Made eye contact with me twice. Did not react either time. Around the time the cake was being cut, she came up to me at the bar. Started with, Wes, can we just talk? Did not turn around. The bartender looked at me, looked at her, said, ma'am, I think you should step back. Turned out to be a guy Connor had known for years. He had been briefed. Madison stood there for maybe a minute, then walked out. Did not see her leave. Did not really notice she was gone for an hour. Nobody asked me about her for the rest of the night. The cousin who brought her left around the same time, looking embarrassed. He later sent Connor an apology that was very generous of him. Turned out he had figured out who she was right after they walked in. He was a decent guy who got played. I knew the feeling. The morning after the wedding, a few of us drove back out to the same cabin from the bachelor party. Connor and his wife were already on their honeymoon. 4 of us spent that weekend at the lake. Sat on the dock with coffee the first morning, watched the sun come up over the same water I had stared at the night I saw the photo. Trent sat down next to me with his own mug, did not say anything for a while. Finally asked if I was good. Thought about the question, actually thought about it, and for the first time in 2 years, I said yes and meant it. He asked if I was going to start dating again. Told him eventually, not soon. He said, no rush, brother. Nobody is going anywhere. That was about as direct as Trent ever got. I appreciated it. He handed me a second cup of coffee from the thermos he had brought down. We sat there for another hour without saying much. At one point he asked me what I had learned from all of it. Told him I was not big on lessons. He said, try anyway. Thought about it for a minute. Said I had learned to trust the people who were there when I was not at my best. Said I had learned that the loudest person in the room is usually not the one telling the truth. Said I had learned that when somebody tells you who they are, You should believe them on the first pass." He nodded, did not say anything else about it. That was the end of the conversation. Drove back from the lake on Sunday night, got home to my own apartment, put the keys on the counter. Nobody waiting up to interrogate me about the trip. Nobody checking my location on the way back. Made myself a sandwich, watched half a movie, went to bed. Simplest evening I had had in years. Realized at some point that this was what most people called life. I had forgotten what it felt like. 2 years isolated, 4 days to figure it out. Lost the girl, kept the brothers. Would not trade it. She gave me an ultimatum, thinking I would pick her. I picked the guys she had spent 2 years calling losers. Turns out they were the only ones who never lied to me. Anyway, Anons, if your girl ever makes you choose between her and your friends, she already made the choice for you.